bit. There we go. Let me just do that. Can you see it's showing the presentation? It is. Okay, great. So yeah, so welcome everyone. I think Luke was saying it a little bit earlier in this week, but I can't believe we are back to the next town hall. I also can't believe it's already November, but I hope you are all doing well. And anyone watching this, thanks for just checking in. And it's always valuable to, if you can't ever make these sessions, it is always valuable to make sure that you do see the recordings. Just keeps you up to date with anything that the community is discussing, any features we're releasing. You'll see something that Luke will take us through a bit later today, which is definitely quite exciting around some studio updates. But yeah, thanks for joining us. Today, it's not going to be, I don't think it's going to be a really long session, but I definitely think it's going to be quite valuable just to see where we're going, especially with, as I said, the new improvements we're looking to implement for Studio, which I know everyone will likely be very excited about. What we also will just quickly chat about is just if you have any feedback on the new Bootstrap5 SoftUI theme and templates, I will just jump in there really quickly for anyone who hasn't seen them. I'll show you that as well, and to see if there is any feedback. Also, as I said, what we're going to do is Luke's going to take us through some of the roadmap developments on Studio's phase 4. So this is just showing you where we are at the moment. And then also just going to be a bit of a sneak peek on, where we see Studio going in the future. Okay. And I think another crucial part of the agenda, something that myself and Luke have been talking about quite a bit, is just a brief discussion around collaboration meetings. So that's with us as the Siteglide team. I think this is definitely very valuable. I know we always have these monthly town halls, but it's definitely good to have these more one-on-one sessions with you and your extended team. So we'll just talk a bit about that and maybe just seeing how we can schedule those in for next year, just so we are, you are getting that dedicated kind of time from us and the team when you need it. Okay. So yeah, so I'm just going to quickly jump out of here. So yeah, so for anyone, just as I said, we're just going to talk a bit about the feedback around Bootstrap, the new Bootstrap5 SoftUI themes and templates. If you haven't seen that already, so if you go into the new modules, you'll see we've got the new SoftUI theme. So that's the theme as well as the template as well. So let me just quickly, there we go. So you'll see that, so that you've got the theme and then you've got, where's the template SoftUI?
That's on Marketplace, just on the left menu.
Okay, I'm thinking in there. There we go. And there we go. So you've got the actual theme, you've got the landing page. So definitely, if you haven't looked at that, I would recommend trying it out. It has to do, it is one of the themes built by Creative Tim, and it's actually just replacing our older Bootstrap themes. So this is something that's going to be improvised and improved over time. It's really useful. So if I go into, the pages, you can see just a quick example of some of the different kind of layouts that you can use. So if anyone hasn't really looked into that yet, I would recommend jumping in, giving it a test, and yeah, definitely give us any feedback you have. As I said, this is just a more recent release, and we are going to be improving it as we go along. I'm not sure if anyone on the call of you, John or Nick or Liz, have you guys had any testing with the SoftUI theme at all? Is anyone at all?
We use Tailwind now exclusively, so we're
that's also we're also happy to hear that. As long as you've got, I don't flow by to the Tailwind stuff if someone opts for that. But it's also nice just to have that, I think, as we said when we did release it, just to have that extra kind of option if someone has got more, they do prefer working on Bootstrap versus the flow part and that.
Yeah, we do have older sites that have got Bootstrap on, so.
Yeah. So yeah, so definitely if anyone that sees this videos, I'll definitely, just to watch the recording, I would go and install the themes, test them out. Give us a shout if you notice anything. We're always willing to hear any improvements, or if there's anything you notice that we can look at. But definitely spend some time in there, and then yeah, reach out to me, or if you have any questions or you'd like a meeting to discuss it, just definitely reach out. Okay. Perfect. So yeah, I'm going to hand over to Luke now. He's going to jump into the Studio Phase 4 items. And yeah, Luke, you can take over from here.
Sure. Thanks, Colin. Yeah, so this is one I'm pretty excited about. We've been wanting to make improvements to Studio for quite a long time. I think we've recognized that there are things about it that are a bit clunky and could be better. We have tried to improve it over the years, and we've often sort of hit limitations with it, and sort of taken the opportunity to not be held back by limitations. That's something that we wanted all along, is to build a platform that doesn't really have limitations, and ones on ourselves are pretty frustrating too. So what we've done is we've sort of re-engineered it, and got a really, I think you'll agree, a pretty exciting vision of what we can do with it, and the overall aim being to sort of integrate it with the product more and help people get more out of the product. So it's not just about simple editing. It's actually about being able to use the Siteglide functionality more easily, quicker, and in a more integrated way. So I'll quickly show you what sort of a prototype in Figma first that gives you an idea of what it'll look like and some of the functionality. I think we're obviously at sort of fairly early stages in a way, but I think you'll also be pleased by something that you can play around with as well. So yeah, then I'll show you a demo of what we've got and how you can have a play around with it. So let's jump in and have a look at Figma first. Can you see my screen okay?
Yeah.
Cool. So I'll do a little video of this as well and share it afterwards, but effectively, this is the new UI. We're making fairly minor UI updates across the board to the overall theme of the Siteglide admin, just to make it a little bit cleaner. I think anybody on low resolution screens or even bigger resolutions, there's a lot of wasted space, and we just want to deal with that. So as an example, the menu bar, that looks pretty similar. Finally getting our correct font in there, and updating some icons perhaps. And the top bar, a little bit thinner and streamlined, and quite importantly, putting the page name or the breadcrumbs into the top bar. It sort of currently takes up quite a bit of space. And if we do that, we then have a really good amount of space for the sort of pages tabs, and then Studio itself. So this is the new design for the Studio layout. Initially, it would be to replace what we currently have. It would be for editing pages as easily as possible and with as much of the features that end customers need and that you guys would need as well, just to do editing. And with the aim later on, which I'll show you in a minute, to take it quite a bit further than that. So on the left, having a proper sort of structure navigation, so you can actually click through and pick different HTML elements, and then be able to work on those. So yeah, that on the left. Then the main central section would be just a rendered view of the page with all the sections on it. Being able to switch to mobile and tablet view as well. I'll show you that on the demo. Being able to go backwards and forwards. Putting some lines on just to see the sort of div structure and whatever. Press that. A preview mode, which gets rid of the sidebar, and just so you can see it all as a page. Obviously, we've still got our view button down at the bottom, which will open a new tab. And full screen mode, which I'll show you as well. Much easier working in full screen mode, an improvement on the current version. And then most importantly, where the right-hand side is where we can get really clever in the future. To start with, we would just focus on making it really simple in terms of editing. And where this really ties in nicely is the fact that we put a lot of time over the summer into user roles, because what we can now do is effectively give you control of, well, as much as you want in terms of the feedback we get, but my initial thinking would be whether people can see certain tabs, certain sort of areas, but then also whether they can see these accordions. So you might want them to have the general tab accordion, but not layout and classes. So layout would be things like positioning, margin padding, that kind of things. You might not want to give them control over that. And classes would obviously be actual CSS classes, which many clients probably wouldn't even know what to do with. So it's nice that we can help split those kind of things out and just leave them to do things like typography and imagery. As well as that, we have then a properties tab. So initially that would be fairly simple things like title tags, alt tags, that kind of stuff, just anything related to static content on the page. Links as well. We'd have the sort of Ahref links that you can put in, and you can manage them. That's something that I'll show you on the demo that we're still working on and integrating properly with the product. So this space here starts off quite simple, which is nice for a customer, but there's a lot of opportunity to do things here later, which I'll show in a minute. And then lastly, a button on the right for inserting anything really. So if you click it, you would then effectively have toolbox from that we currently have in the code view, but all the different types of things. And again, that list can grow and grow and grow. And both this section and this section would be scrollable, so that we're not limited on space. I'm trying to think ahead for the future to make sure that we can include anything you might want to control. Again, if you guys really felt we needed to and get feedback as it evolves, you might want control over what appears here. And another idea is that we could even allow you to control to some extent what can appear. You might be able to add your own modules in, obviously from Marketplace. That would just be by clicking module, but we might be able to do clever things on top. Using content sections cleverly is a good example, but static layouts and dynamic layouts from Marketplace. But there might be other things on top. You might have integrations. I know last time, Nick, you mentioned the idea of sort of SEO AI tools. There might be tools that we can help you integrate with the product as well. So I wouldn't see Studio, where we're going with Studio, as just an evolution of editing. And if that doesn't interest you so much at the moment, I think where we can take this probably would interest everybody, because we can help make the process of building sites and applications easier, but probably quite a bit more powerful as well by being able to do it in this one interface. So yeah, just a quick example of this. You could click through to one of those categories and then you could insert a layout, just dragging it in, which again, I'll show you in the demo. And then you'd edit as normal using the properties bar. So yeah, any immediate questions? Obviously, I'll show you the proper demo, but any immediate questions from what you've seen here?
How does it, sorry, Liz.
Oh, sorry, you go, John.
Okay. So how does it deal with sort of liquid tags and pulling content sections in from other parts of the site and rendering those on the page? So, because obviously at the moment it just comes up with a little bit of code and that just confuses people. So
exactly. Yeah, that's a big one. It had been a big question mark on my list. Matt and I are working through those kind of things. I don't have the complete answer for you yet. That's the thing we're going to keep working on. As I say, sort of phase one will be what we've got now, but better editing, and then we'll really be focusing on dynamic. But the aim, I'll give you a quick demo of that in just a second. But Liz, maybe your question's relevant to this.
Oh yes, no, probably. So just out of interest, I'm stepping back a bit because I have one site I started building SoftUI because I was talking to Matt about that a couple of months ago, and that's the way we were moving forward. I thought it sounds great to me. So I've got a lot of Bootstrap sites now. So just a question in terms of switching them over to this, with Studio moving forward. I guess it'll all be fine. In my head, I think it is okay. We've got Bootstrap 5 anyway. I've used some templates for some sites. There'd be no reason why we couldn't just have new templates and just sort of evolve them into a new, move the site, slowly across to this.
Exactly that. Studio itself, so the editor, is going to be framework and code agnostic. Obviously, there'll be things that work better, and we're going to optimize it for Bootstrap 5, the SoftUI theme, and for the Flowbyte framework as well. So working with those two is a good idea. You've got more available in the library, and you've got us being able to sort of control and optimize it. Whereas if you do something completely different, it's obviously much harder for us to help with that. So you wouldn't have to swap everything over just to use Studio. But yeah, it would definitely be worth looking at if you've got a older Bootstrap code, seeing how well you can get it work with SoftUI. To be honest, I mean, I looked at the site the other day. I think it was one of our old Bootstrap framework sites, and I just happened to drag in some layouts from that into a SoftUI site, and they loaded really, really well, and brought in took the global styling of SoftUI. So I would have a play around, see what works with your workflow really and your projects. But yeah, I think going forward, trying to pick one of those two streams is going to help, and see how easily you can move stuff across. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, no, that's good, and it's handy because I mean some of the sites are come out for 3 years old now, so
yeah,
their templates need updating. Well, rather than doing that, I could probably migrate them to
exactly. So just to be clear, we're not making you do that. It would be whether it makes sense. You can stick on the old one and use Studio, no problems. But it probably is worth looking at migrating for the benefits of newer code, standardization, those kind of things.
Yeah, good. Oh, and did you talk about a time frame? If I might have missed it. About first release
for Studio?
Yeah, for this.
I'll tell you that in a minute.
Okay.
for you guys, I'll tell you in a minute. But very soon, I think is the answer I'm going to give. So yeah, I mean, this is obviously a Figma design just to show you finished design product, but I can in a minute show you where we are, and I think that will give you a better answer on actually getting your hands on it. I'll just quickly show the dynamic demo to cover what John, you were talking about. So give myself a little button to get there. So I'm really trying to think ahead and work out where we should take this so that we can really help you get the most out of the functionality and help less technical people as well. But it's not just about being technical, it's about understanding the inner workings of layouts and Liquid and Siteglide functionality, and we want to kind of help take that away in a, let's say, Webflow sort of style, or some of the other. We want to look at the competition and try and make sure that we've got something that makes it a bit easier than we've had recently. So this is not for now, this is for a few releases down the line, but it's good I want to future-proof what we're doing so that we can do this, but it's also good to get feedback from you guys and input on which direction we can go in. But this design here, you'll notice there's no sort of pages bar at the top. So the concept with this is that eventually, or soon, hopefully, we could have a version of Studio that isn't within the page tab. It's a button you go to from the menu, let's say, and from within there you've got a file manager and you can work on files, and it wouldn't just be pages. You would actually be able to open the blog list view or whatever that might be, and if you were in a page that had a blog list view, you'd be able to click on it and open that directly there. So navigation and finding things would be a lot quicker, and it would just all make a lot more logical sense than having to jump around to code editor and find stuff and that kind of thing. So that then leads on to how we handle sort of dynamic content. So John, your question was Liquid code looks pretty horrible at the moment. If you have an include in Studio, it looks horrible. It does, and it still will initially, but we definitely want to come up with a solution for that. The ideal solution that I want to get to is that we render it we effectively render it in the editor by, if you've set it to be blog posts from this category and 3 items, we would literally grab grab the first 3 items and put them out into the page so that people can view it. You've then got to consider the editing of that. So we actually want you to be able to edit the layout in the editor as well, not just see the content. So looking at this, you'll see that I've got one of the cards, and you'll see the dynamic tag there. Ideally, we want to render that and pull out the value. So you would click this And then on the right-hand side of the properties area, something along these lines, you'd be able to click a button. Oh, broken that one, I think. But you'd be able to click a button and control what fields you can put in. If I just click here for a second, I'm thinking that at a items level, I think we'd call it, you can control what sits in this box. You'd say that for dynamic content, I'd click a button to say I want something dynamic, and you'd say type module, blog, no categories, all items, pagination, that kind of thing, and then it would know to render out that content, and then from within there, you'd be able to control the card styling and the element styling as well. Does that make any sense? And does that kind of answer your question, John?
Kind of, yeah. Although it's raised several more, so
yeah.
In a minute when you're done.
I mean, we are not near doing this yet,
yeah.
But it is well worth thinking about it, getting your feedback and working out what we want. So I'm trying to think about whether down here we have the fields that you can just copy in, or like there's a lot of things to consider with this. But to answer your actual question, we do not want to see loads of liquid code in the editor. We want it to either be rendered, or we want it to be a box that clearly says dynamic content not editable or something. That would probably be the initial plan.
Yeah.
Is that the kind of solution you think would be good to start with?
Yeah, absolutely. And then I'm also extending from that is like, well, what if you decide you want to put 4 items across? So
exactly.
Will it sort that? And then, okay, fine. So all our sites don't use the standard font that comes with Flowbyte. So will it then pull all the CSS from what the guys have coded into Studio, so that it looks like the rest of the site and that we've designed? And
exactly,
that's obviously very key when clients go in and decide they want to build a landing page, which is what we want them to do. So.
Exactly. So there's some key concepts that we're going to have to make sure we run off. I think one of the most important to get our heads around is the structure one. So if we pull in, the editor loads the current page structure, and it will load the CSS. So in theory, as long as you've set it up, if you've already styled it, it'll pull that in. The tricky bit is us working out how to visually pull out a card and the structure of that within the layout, but it's definitely doable. I think that's the direction we want to go in, so we'll look more into that, I guess.
Yeah, no, sounds good. Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. We definitely want you to be able to. We never want to impact what code you can use, so we want you to be able to write your own code, your own frameworks, whatever you want, and integrate with Siteglide functionality as easily as possible is the aim. Cool. There's a lot more we could then do with this. As I sort of said back on these layouts, the ability to pull in different types of things and then work with dynamic content is huge. So we've got to consider how to work with forms, secure zones, all of that kind of stuff, building application layouts as opposed to page layouts. So there's quite a bit to work through, but it will be really good to get we'll probably set up a place where we can get more feedback from the alpha version, which I'm about to show you. So any more questions from anybody on the design or the what I've shown you so far? I'll jump across. So obviously this is alpha, this is the old or current UI style. Let's create a page. So at the moment I'm in a Flowbyte template or site theme, whatever you want to call it. I've got another example I'll show you for SoftUI as well. So I'm mainly focusing on those two, but I am also making sure that this works for any site. We'll pick some at random, and obviously as you guys start to use this, you'll probably throw back feedback and issues to us. I'll mention that at the end, but obviously it is a work in progress. So we're aware of quite a lot of things that we need to work on, but it's obviously also helpful to get feedback. So let's just create a page. So I'll do Town Hall 2 because I did a test earlier. Put a template on it and click save. Hope a live demo works. Then going to Studio, this is V2 rather than V1. So in alpha right now, you can test out the V2 version if you want to. Now, this is very much just a work in progress. We wanted to get it in there so that people and we can play around with it and get some feedback. But you should definitely be using the normal version if you're working on any actual sites or anything you might lose. So it should look pretty similar. The styling is the main bit to go on, but the structure is all there. What we can now do, so there's nothing to select at the moment really, but if we use the button on the right that I showed you earlier, you'll see that this pulls in, it actually pulls in layouts and categories from agency layouts in Portal, which I don't think, that's not the way we want to go. It does pull those in, but if you're not using them, they won't appear. It pulls in anything from Site Builder, so your Flowbyte theme or your SoftUI theme, if you're running those. And just got a few basic things as well that you can insert, like an image, text, or a link. You can also already expand the library and add your own layouts into this area. So that's something that you'll probably want to do as we do more with this, and especially with user roles, you'll be able to give customers the ability to make their own landing pages using the layouts that you've created, perhaps. So we just go here, for example, and we put one of these in. So like the current version, but hopefully a lot better in terms of the things it can do, and a lot more functionality on top. So let's just put in a couple more sections. There are a couple of things you'll probably find it's a little clunky putting things in, which we're going to look at. So if we take this section here, I find it's easiest to wait until you get the green line all the way across and drop it in. Now you can then say, well, I don't want this section here, I want it at the bottom, and then just drag it, and that will swap those around. And then if let's put a call to action in as an example, and we'll drop that one to the bottom as well. So structure the page pretty quickly. If you're doing landing pages for clients, this would be really quick and easy for them to set up. Obviously, you've got editing abilities. There's a fairly basic formatting tool at the moment. We may swap this out for either the current one that we have in web apps and modules, so Redactor, or another, or we might just improve what we've got here. But you have things like bold here, but then under style, you've also got a lot more control. We are going to tidy this up. This is all a bit crazy for anybody, especially customers, to get their head around all the different things in there. Just quickly switching back to Figma, it will be more like something like this. So general tab with topography and background, and then we'll hide some of the other stuff in other tabs that you don't have to give people access to if you don't want to. So just jumping back here, you'd have the sort of basic code editing, formatting tools that you want, and you'd be able to control what to show. You can do things like copying, so duplicating a new button, for example, and a new section. You can use File Manager, so we've hooked that up. So let's put in a different image. What should we go with? Put that in there. Again, we'll probably want to work on some of the image features, and they're not fully how we want them yet, but you can play around with that and give some feedback. SVGs, that's something that we had on our list for phase 4. That still needs to be worked on. Then they're not easy generally to work with because then they don't work as images. So either we'll need to have an SVG library that you can just swap out from, essentially an icon library, or potentially putting it into File Manager. We're not quite sure on that one yet, so still working on that. What else? Links quickly. Let's have a look at links. Let's use the link tool as an example. So clicking that, you'd then be able to go to properties and put your link in there. Again, we're hooking this up with Siteglide functionality, so you'll be able to do a link to web app items or pages, whatever it might be. Right. I think I've covered most things. Let's just save that so you can see it actually does work. And then load the page. Obviously got dark mode on, but it's the same concept. Oh, pressed it twice. And I didn't get to show you the mobile tool, so you can see it all in mobile and tablet and different sizes. We'll probably get to a point where we can let you specify these breakpoints and control the sizing in here, but for now, it just gives you a good idea of what it would look like on mobile. Yeah, I think those are the main things to show. I think we can do a lot more with this and make it really useful for the dynamic side of things when we get to that. What else? Obviously, from what Colin mentioned at the beginning, if you're not too familiar with Flowbytes or SoftUI, we have those libraries and themes in Marketplace. Once you install them, you would then have those layouts available here, and it's a very quick way to build out sites, and now you can do it visually quite easily. I think I'll stop there for a second. There's probably a few more things to come back to, but any immediate comments or questions?
No, it looks like big steps forward though. It's
Cool.
yeah, really good.
To try and answer Liz's question a bit better in terms of release, as I mentioned, it's available now effectively for you guys to use or play around with. We're going to finish the styling so that it looks like this. We're going to sort links, background images, some final bits there, and probably a few more tweaks, and then we plan to get that out as phase one. So effectively, it just needs to be better than the current studio. That's phase one, and then we'll have a roadmap on top of that to keep improving. And one of the first things will be, let's try and find one where we've got some liquid code in there to go back to your sort of point, John. Here's a SoftUI page as an example. So I was playing around with earlier. You can just insert. So it'll only show now those layouts because I'm using SoftUI. So we can pull in, let's put in something a bit different. Again, this is what I mean about it's a little bit fiddly to do that. So we're going to look at whether we can improve that. And let's get some liquid. So after that section, let's put in a blog list. Back to here. Yeah, currently, as it does currently, sorry, it'll just put in the code. You can't break it. I don't believe you can do anything with it, so it'll just appear, but it doesn't look very good. So as I say, the initial fix will probably be to just visually change it so that it says it's dynamic content, and the long-term fix will be to try and make it editable, or at least click a button and it open up in a new page that you can edit from there. I think is probably most realistic. Yeah, I don't think there was anything else to mention. Any other questions at all? So I think, Liz, if you're more sort of going the Bootstrap route, then definitely worth having a play around. So what you could do is you could go to Marketplace, you could create a site from the landing page SoftUI templates, and then you could just literally come into the site, come to Studio, and start playing around with these and see how you get on. Obviously, you can build your own pages as well. So at the moment, this will show static layouts. Obviously, one of the next steps would be to help use dynamic content. So not building dynamic content necessarily, but using it at least. So currently you go to Site Builder and you would install a layout for, let's say, yeah, for the blog or FAQs, let's say. At the moment, you have to install that. and you just drop that code into the page using code view. So in theory, what phase 1 would be to allow you to insert that visually in Studio, and phase 2 would be to allow you to install it and set it all up from Studio, meaning that the sort of long-term plan with Site Builder is to make it as well, sit in the background more, I guess. Let it help you rather than it need to be this separate thing you have to keep jumping between. There might be reasons why you still come and do things here and you want to keep your client well away from it. But we just still want to make it much, much easier, and ideally put as much as possible within the Studio area. Effectively taking Toolbox and making it visual. Yeah, so I think that's probably everything really to show there at the moment. We'll hopefully have a release of a better version of Studio with the fixes that we've been talking about for a while, very, very soon. And then hopefully get your input and feedback on next steps after that. I think I'll stop sharing, but yeah, any more questions, just shout.
Perfect. So I think I'll jump in here. I know this is part of roadmaps. I know, John, you had a question about the multiple images, so the e-commerce side. I know that is definitely a big one for you guys.
It seems to be a perpetual thing I mention every month to do with e-commerce and sorting it out. It's always my big thing, sits on my shoulder. And it's only because I deal with clients, and you get the amount of clients we now have coming over from Shopify and come over from Wix. So they're like, well, can you do vouchers for us? Well, no, we can't. We can't generate voucher codes. Can we have multiple images on the individual attributes? No, I can't do that at the moment. It's coming, but I don't know when. It's just it's becoming a yes.
Yeah. So I spoke to Matt about it, and it is in the pipe. It's definitely something that we would probably, when we do the sprint for Q1 2024. So when we do that new sprint, I think it's going to be crucial that it'll be added in there.
I was on the understanding it was in this sprint. This is what I was told back in the summer. It's like, Q4 sprint, e-commerce is on the agenda. That will be included in this sprint.
Yeah, it does keep getting pushed backwards and pushed backwards.
It keeps pushing back, and it's just frustrating for us because we're trying to sell sites that bring people across, and we can't come over. You haven't got the functionality we need.
I was going to jump in before Colin and explain that Matt and I have been planning e-commerce a lot recently, and how we can speed up continual improvement of it, and it's something we've been working on, and those things are planned and being worked on. I think Colin was trying to be safe with Q1 on that. I can't say exactly how it's going to work yet, but we've got something that we're working on right now to mean that we can work on those e-commerce things alongside everything else, and we can also make it a lot more open. When we opened it up so that you guys could do things like custom payment in the middle of the process, we're kind of doing the same thing now with effectively, I guess, module improvements, but e-commerce specifically, so that we can add in improvements quicker, but we can also allow you guys to do more of those things as well. So that is being actively worked on right now to enable us to do the kind of those kind of improvements that we've been talking about. Because there's a list of different things, and e-commerce is a tricky one, because there's always going to be so many different things that we could be doing, and we're trying to come about it from an angle where we just give you more capabilities overall and fix some of these things in the process. I will come back to you guys specifically later this week, later this week, with a bit more information on that, because I appreciate you need to know what's going on there.
It'd be good. There's just a number of things that are kind of core for so many platforms, and we just haven't got those core elements yet. It's things that you're a bit embarrassed that they're not there, to be honest. It's
could we I think this will be helpful for us and for everybody. But obviously, we have discussed that quite a few times, and since the summer, as you said, John, we've got a good list of those ones. We have worked through quite a few of them, or we've been working through those, like product copy, and a few of the others. Let's double check we're really clear on exactly what's needed and which ones are most pressing, and we'll. I'm pretty sure we know, but I want to double check because it sounds like there are more, and it sounds like it's you're going to hit new challenges every project, I imagine, and it'd be good to have maybe a more regular chat over how we go about those.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be every project. Most e-commerce stuff is, in the light of e-commerce, pretty standard. It's just that we don't meet the standard. We're just not. We're not there on the, what people will just look at and go, well, why can't I do that? That's just a no-brainer that should happen on an e-commerce system. I wouldn't buy an e-commerce system if it didn't do that. And there's still a number of those hanging around that, we've got to get over. I mean, kind of extra images on attributes, that is, it's a requirement we've got, but that's an unusual one. That's not going to affect too many customers. But, going back to the fact that you can't have a color and a size. That's really basic. That's that's those kinds of things we've got to get sorted now, because that's most e-commerce sites, not not the odd outlier.
I want to speak to you guys separate, like more about this, and make sure we're on the right 100% on the right track. But if you look at the roadmap currently on the planned items, would you say everything is in there? If I pull that up quickly, just to be sure. So apply discount codes to specific products. That's in there. Multi-images and attributes. I think those are the only two that are showing in here that are e-commerce related. What was the other one you mentioned, John? Yeah. So what other ones specifically?
Well, then we're looking at things like gift vouchers, which obviously is an extension of discount. No, we are e-commerce gift vouchers. It's obviously an extension of discount codes.
Yeah,
and generating that.
But I think I'm right, and obviously we can go back and check, and we'll have a discussion about it. But these are the ones we've been discussing, and obviously the ones we've just completed as well. So order custom fields, product copy, some of those ones. Those are the ones we've been discussing specifically. Do let us know of any more that have either come up since, or that just. I totally appreciate there are some things that are just core, but we can only do them in a certain order. So let's really make sure we've got the right ones. I think last time we sort of said to you, like, what specifically should we do? And it was these four. Would you agree that right now it's those?
We may well have had client-centric ones at that time, but I mean, we can't not have, colors and sizes. That's just such a basic. But we're turning down sites because we can't do it.
Right, and that's exactly what nobody wants.
That's the simple truth of it. It's
Has that one been discussed? Sorry, I was just off the top of my head, and I've been quite focused on Studio the last few days. So, is that one that we got somewhere and we're discussing with you?
You should have it somewhere.
It's on the roadmap somewhere.
It's
been probably about a couple of years old. But,
yeah, well, and that went back down to the Rheingold situation back in the day.
Yeah, which was 2 or 3 years ago.
Okay, well, I think it shows that we should have another quick catch up on it and make sure that we've got a finite list and an order, and then those get the priority. Like I say, we're now we are already prioritizing those things, and we've got a way in which we can implement e-commerce improvements better. But I still want to make sure we do the right ones and have that chat.
Cool.
Perfect. but yeah, let me just take over for the last little bit. Give me 1 second. Let's just do that. So I think this very brief topic of the agenda, I think is quite relevant now as we discuss maybe just, as I said, specific requests that like John and Nick is having. So yeah, we definitely want to, this is something that myself and Luke have been chatting about. We know it's also a very funny time of the year now as well, but we definitely want to have some more dedicated sessions with you and your teams, just to look at how we can collaborate better, understand, what assistance you need when you need it. Ideally, we would like, ideally something like quarterly sessions would be great. This does not mean that we can't have ad hoc sessions in between that. So definitely speak to your team, see, even if you don't feel it needing it to be that often, it could be, biannually as well. But definitely keep in mind just reaching out to us. Let's have that discussion. Let's talk about, what sort of features have come out. Are you aware of? The team's not aware of? What are sort of the feature demands that you're seeing from clients? I think that's also a big one, for example, like we've been just chatting now. And then also just any sort of other, upskilling for the team around account questions, selling the product, identifying, any knowledge gaps around the product as well. I think that can really help your team also just make sure they're up to date with what is happening in the system. So yeah, definitely feel free to reach out. I will be reaching out to the main sort of agencies just to see when we can set this up. As I said, I do understand it is a funny time of the year now. If you still want to have a session, that's no problem. And then for any of the clients that are in the US or in Australia, also, I don't mind having earlier meetings my side or later meetings. That's something we can always fit in. So please do reach out. As I said, that's over and above the standard support you'll get through in the portal or just the chat. But yeah, I definitely think it's something that we should be meeting up more often, just so you can pick our brains directly, any frustrations you're dealing with, or if there's something you're unsure about, it's always good to just discuss that. Okay. So yeah, so I will reach out to the main agencies, and then yeah, just reach out as well if you would like to set those up, and then we can book them in for next year. Okay. Just before we do finish with just opening the floor, I do, just for any of the American customers that are watching this, I want to wish you all a good Thanksgiving. I do believe it's coming up in the next week or so. But yeah, if you are seeing this, I hope you have a good Thanksgiving. But yeah, I would like to open the floor to the rest of the team. And I think Rox has joined us as well.
I've just got to say on Thanksgiving, isn't it sad that these days we only know it's Thanksgiving because of Black Friday? And probably most people don't even connect the two. It's it's a sad reflection of our lives in society.
Yeah. I also forget the linking as well. It's interesting. I always think they see them as totally separate, really.
Yeah. Hello from the world champions. There we go. Yeah.
Yeah. That took you a while,
that
Rox, to be quite honest. I was expecting that earlier. Congratulations, you played really well.
Yeah, at least also it puts all the rugby and Eddie Jones stuff in the past as well. So at least that's a good way to finish that. But yeah, congrats, Rox. I think they played very, very well. Yeah. But yeah, I'm not sure. Is there any other, John, are there any other things going on other than roadmap? Any other items you're discussing? Are there any projects, perhaps, Liz, that you're trying to get on at the moment or finishing for the year?
We've got several. they're all waiting.
Always works in progress.
And generally held up by the client
to provide their bits.
Yeah. Generally held up by the client.
Really urgent. We get this done within 6 weeks. Okay, great. 5 weeks later, have you got the initial feedback on the design yet? Oh no, you've had it for 4 weeks, but
there we are. Usual.
user stuff. That's
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, just very quickly, completely forgive me for actually even mentioning this in the group, but Luke, I'll go back to Viola Vintage. Luke, I tried last week and couldn't get hold of her, but I'll
Sure.
go back and see what she wants to do. So
Yeah,
yeah,
sure.
I
And
just thought we'll kind of do the same price for her, and if she wants to do that, that's fine, whether
perfect.
it's with us
Yeah.
or with you. But I'll keep you
Yeah,
posted.
let's chat about it. Always want to fire people back your
Yeah.
way first. That's always the
Yeah,
plan.
cool.
So yeah, totally up to you.
Cheers.
Cool. Yeah, okay. I don't think there are any other topics. Anything else for anyone?
Yeah, I
Any
think
issues?
I think the one thing I think I still need to bring up. So, with we've obviously just had the daylight saving time changes. So that was the one thing we wanted to discuss, because normally we would have it at this current time, which would be 9 a.m. British Standard Time. But we just wanted to get your guys' thoughts on what your thoughts on best managing that. Obviously, it does affect Liz and Rox a bit more because it pushes it a bit more into the evening. What are your thoughts, Liz? Is it quite a problem for you? I don't want you to feel like you're still going at this hour just to join the meetings.
Caught me out tonight because I've forgotten. I mean, I suppose it's better to be earlier for me, honestly. But look, it's only a few months anyway. And I mean, we have it's dark outside now, but in another couple of weeks we have it's light to quite late. So it's probably just now, but the beginning of it, but it'll be easier a bit later. Yeah. And then it'll go back to the other time again.
Yes.
Yeah, you gotta love the Brits. Completely pointless. Utterly pointless. There we go.
Yes.
I feel bad, Liz. We've swapped it out from no, when was it before? Because it was late for us. So it would have been very, very early
10
in the morning
p.m.
for
Yeah,
you.
it was 6:30 p.m.
Oh,
Now it's 7:30 p.m. Yeah.
I think that's worse. Yeah, very early in the morning. I don't know.
Tired.
Yeah, I'm not sure what time, John and Nick, do you guys get into the office, or like if we had to do maybe half an hour earlier?
I'm here by 8:30, so
yeah,
that's
I'm usually here by 8:30, there by 8:30. I'm not made it out of the house yet though, so.
But yeah, 8 o'clock would be an issue, but 8:30 is fine.
Yeah, 8:30 would be fine if it was that half an hour.
If that helps the Antipodean part of the group, that would be marvelous.
And Rox, is any particular?
Yeah, it doesn't affect me too much because we don't have daylight saving here, so
Yeah,
so it's the hour difference. So
I have no idea why South Australia has it, because we're weirdly half an hour different with the eastern states as well. We're special because we're in the middle.
Yeah.
It's stupid.
So is that all? Is it
to
all
be
year
special,
round?
Liz?
Yeah.
What's that?
So it's good to be special, Liz.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think then. I don't think half an hour would make enough of a difference, would it, Liz? Or
No, probably not. I wouldn't worry specifically.
Okay.
As I said, once it's lighter, we sort of find that it's easier when it's lighter. Interestingly,
yeah,
so, and it'll be lighter quickly. In another few weeks, you'll notice it. If I have the window open, it'll be light till 9:30. So.
It was always tricky because late at night it's not very nice, but at least people are more likely to be free, if that's the right word. But obviously this sort of time is sort of dinner time and lots going on, so there's no way we can get a good time, I don't think.
No. Yeah.
No, I think like Liz said, like let's maybe see if we just leave it like that, as I said, until it goes back the additional hour. And if yourself or Rox, Liz, that can't join, it's always you're always happy for. I'm always happy for you if you want to book a meeting to have a catch up regarding it, or just even if it's over and above the recordings. I'm happy to do as well. If we want to have a 5 or 10 minute chat and just say some of the stuff we went through, if that's something you want to do, I'm also happy to do that. or with rocks if need be. Okay.
Yep.
Perfect.
Just one more thing regarding e-commerce that we've been working on. I thought I'd show quickly and discuss. Let me try and see if I can pull it up quickly. So I've been working on e-commerce improvements with Matt Jones on the Site Gurus team to get e-commerce layouts in for SoftUI, but with the main aim to be improving e-commerce at the same time, and that become our new demo site, because the current demo site is wildly outdated and uses the old studio design. So we're making improvements. We're trying to do it across the board really with e-commerce. I'll try and just show you where we got to on that. It might help give a bit of an insight, but I'm going to give you guys a better update, and we're going to discuss exactly which ones to focus on. Let me try and pull that up. I think it doesn't look particularly exciting. The SoftUI. Sorry, Colin, do you mind stopping sharing? I'll just share my screen quickly.
Yeah.
All right. Where are we? It's using the SoftUI theme, and the color scheme for that is quite interesting. But obviously, you can change colors very easily. So this is one of the new detail views. I've got a list view I can show you shortly. So here, being able to do, I think this might be different, but being able to change some of the image attributes. I can't remember, but one of the things definitely we've looked at is trying to do a better notification or toast, or whatever you want to call it, because the browser updates aren't great for like add to cart. But there's been quite a bit going on here. No, exactly. So obviously this can be completely styled. That's just it's actually a lot smaller than that now. I think I've got a very old version somehow. But yeah, looking at categorization, and let me find the list view very quickly. Just 1 second. I think that would be worth doing because we've done a lot of improvements there. So while they might not always be, the exact things we've just been talking about for you guys, we're trying to sort of piece it all together and make the right improvements overall. But I know that, so in doing this, and why I could say earlier that we're working on all of those things, Matt Jones especially is finding probably the same frustrations as you. So we're actually going through e-commerce and working it out and going, right, what's good and what's not.
You might want to choose the size for your skirt.
Yes, exactly. And the color. Yeah. So an example, I don't know if you use it in Site Builder, but there's like the live.js feature that Matt Jones had built. So things where it can like automatically update based on, I think we just need to do one particular one. Yeah, so live updates of categories as one example. And just working through all of this kind of stuff and trying to make sure we systematically get it working, both in terms of functionality, layout, implementation, all of those kind of things, speed, that kind of stuff. So to be honest, it would be great to, I think, probably have a call with you guys and anybody else who's interested on e-commerce in general. Get more insight into what's working, what's not working, and where we can go with it. I don't want it to just be a case of, there's a few things on the roadmap. Roadmaps are a good and a bad thing. It can work really well, but it can also feel like you're just waiting. I think it can be a lot more engaging, and we can actually get the right result rather than it be a few words on the roadmap that we go and implement. I think we can actually work together through some of the challenges. So if it's of interest, maybe we set up a call, particularly with Matt Jones on it, and we try and map out exactly what's wrong and what the best solution would be, and then we can try and work through those things.
Yeah,
cool,
excellent. Yeah, stick something in the diary, and we can get prepped for it.
Will do. Sounds good.
It reminded me, I'd forgotten about it. We do have some issues with attributes for membership sites because there's sort of lots of different things you can sort of add on, and I know we struck a problem, but I'll go back and have a look at what it was. I sort of code around it. So yeah, I'll let you know on that one.
Yeah, definitely. I might. We've struggled when we've had calls like this, town hall chats, where there's been a topic that needs more ongoing discussion. And I think we set up one for AI as an example in Discord, a channel. What's the best way to continue these kind of discussions? Does a specific channel make sense, or maybe try and do a regular monthly call specifically on those kind of things? Anybody have any preference?
Yeah, Discord's all right, but Nick never looks at Discord, so there's no point.
The thing is that there's so many channels, and actually, the best thing for me is certainly to put a meeting in, and then I've got a hard meeting that action has to be taken. Discord can happen whenever or not. So yeah, actually having a focus. This is what we need to do for this point, and get ready for it because it's happening there, whether you like it or not. I think that definitely works better for me.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Okay. We'll discuss it, and we'll hopefully improve on this. But how about if we, aside from town hall, so maybe the opposite 2 weeks or in between, we have a workshop. We keep it really general, and it's just a meeting where we go through, like ideally with an agenda, some specific things that we either work on together in terms of an improvement, sort of mapping out how to improve a particular feature or overcome a particular problem. I don't know, where we can just move this kind of stuff along, because town hall's a bit tricky for actually getting into the detail. We need to keep it high level, whereas we can maybe have a call where we can go into the detail.
Yeah, and it can be highly relevant for us and maybe a couple of other partners, but not for all the partners in the town hall. So yeah, that's okay. I think that sounds like a good plan. I mean, not that we need them every month in between, but certainly to have it available when there's something that comes up that is relevant to to you guys or to us guys, that you need that focus kind of group of people chatting about it. I think that would be that'd be really useful. And yeah, just narrow it down. This is the topic we're handling, and yeah.
Okay, well, I think what we'll do is we'll set one up for e-commerce specifically, and then obviously at the end there can be any other business and some other smaller things. So let's get that booked in, and I guess no reason that it can't be open to others to join, or
no, absolutely, yeah. I think everybody, if there are other people in the community that e-commerce is relevant to, then okay,
we'll get that set up.
Yeah, it's useful too. It's useful too, because often I'm sure we're working in isolation. There must be better ways of doing things to what we think as well. That worries me a lot. It'd be good to just to sit in to listen to what other people are doing, because probably in 2 months' time we'll need to know how to do that. Yeah, very, very handy.
Yeah, it's amazing how many technologies we've started using because we've heard about them from from the community. And
true.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. There's some side comment made somewhere, and you think, oh yeah, okay, I better look at that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
I think
always looking along the attribute, the apps bar on everyone's machines when they share. Like, well, that is. Can that help us?
So true.
Maybe that's just me.
I think to your point, Liz, about isolation, it's really interesting. Like I see that across, obviously we've got the Siteglide team working away on products, and then we've got the Site Gurus team working away on projects, and you can have such different experiences and viewpoints. And I obviously try and bridge the gap a bit there. But even there on a project, there's either not a limitation as such, but yeah, I think just more discussion between the community, but then also making sure that we're in the loop from a platform product side of things. Like sometimes it's very hard for us to know how to go about a certain feature or which direction to go in without going into some of that project detail. And we can't really do that on these calls realistically. So yeah, let's have another one, for a separate sort of more detailed call. And I think we'll make some progress.
Good.
Great. Yeah,
brilliant.
I think that's everything from everyone. Thanks so much for everyone for your time. Please do enjoy the rest of your day, and Liz and Rox, enjoy your evening. And then we'll reach out regarding some of the stuff we've discussed, and then we'll have the recordings ready for you all by tomorrow. Okay.
Cool. Fantastic.
Great.
Thanks, everyone.
Excellent.
Thanks, everyone. Enjoy
Catch
your
you
day.
soon.
Ciao.
Take care. Thanks. Bye.
You too.